All right, we're live. Good afternoon. This is Let's
Okay.
Talk About It with Alice. Hey, everybody. We're so glad to be back with you. We've got Terry on this afternoon on Let's Talk About
Hello,
It.
everyone.
We've got Shawana on this afternoon. Dr. Clark, are you there?
Hey, yes, yes.
Yes. All right. And one and only Dr. Michelle Webb. Man, we have missed you,
Hi,
Dr.
Woo-hoo.
everyone.
Michelle.
Good to see you.
Yeah.
Good to
You for
Yes.
see you.
coming
Hope
in.
everybody had a blessed Easter
Wow.
and Resurrection Sunday.
We are ready, ready,
Yeah.
ready. So please keep in mind, let's talk about it's all about life. It's all about our experiences. It's all about the family. It's all about you. And, just giving you information, sharing information, and just keeping you abreast on what's going on. It's all about health. It's all about, the things that are affecting our community. So let's jump in with Let's Talk About It with Alice. And look, this is going to be power packed. So please join in. Please hit the share button and share this with someone. And continue to just log in. I mean, hit the chat
I need
and
to
chat
step out
with us.
one quick
That's what we
second.
do. Yes.
I'll be right
All
back.
right. So all right, we're going to get started. And so, again, we missed you from last week. And so, last week, of course, it was well, I would say Resurrection Weekend. And that
Right.
was a great weekend. Family time. One young lady said to me, we were always taught that show up for family. And last week, we had a great time with our family. So, whew, so much has been going on, and I tell you, this has been crazy. So, what I do want to share is that this week, not just this week, it's the end of the month. Yes, Dr. Michelle, you there? Okay. So this week, we're continuing to talk about because it's coming up with the end of the month. And so, the end of the month, this means that this is the last week that we'll get a chance to talk about stress and anxiety just for a few minutes. Because there's been a lot of stress for things that's been going on. There's been a lot of stress for things going on with the children, been a lot of stress for things going on in families. But the good news is that we can control the stress. So we're going to talk about that. We also got some great things that we want to talk about as it relates to just a little tidbit, just a tidbit, not much on COVID. So just keep in mind the mask has been dropped off the airplanes, and
Right.
that is something that we definitely want to talk about. How do you feel about
Right.
flying now that you don't have to wear a mask? We want to hear from you. How do you feel about that? And also, we want to talk about, we did say that we would talk about the future of the work, okay, of work, what that's looking like, because we know that it said remote work, hybrid work, and the great resignation work. Man, I didn't realize so many people have resigned and continuing to resign and leave the work.
Me either.
Wow. So that's a lot. So I want to jump right in with the first topic, and that is stress. Right quick, just stress, because all of this we're going to talk about it can bring stress.
Right.
What y'all
Well,
think about it?
anything can trigger a stress or a stressful event, whether it's job loss, dealing with the pandemic has certainly been an extreme stressor on a lot of people. All multi ethnic groups, et cetera. No one versus the other. Family stressors, relationship stressors, so all those things are triggers, et cetera. Anxiety, and so these things can bring on, worsening anxiety, worsening depression, or start of depression. And certainly these things are not benign. Some people do have nervous anxiety breakdowns, etc. But also, you start looking at the effects on the body. You have high blood pressure, abnormal heart rates, abnormal heart rhythms can result from that. Just overall feeling of not being well. Okay, and these are things that that will happen, and we know that these are life forces that do happen and changes, divorces, marriages, birth of a new child. It's a joyful event, but that's a stressor because if you've never been a parent or even if you are a parent, these are things that, can still bring further stress, and especially in this economic decline that we have right now, parts still pandemic and what have you. And so these are things that do stress us and what have you. So what do we need to do in terms of self-care?
Thinking about the gas prices, that'll stress you.
Oh, that's stressful
Right.
enough.
I mean, exactly. Gas, exactly. Gas, all these things have,
Children.
they can be somewhat minor, but then not have such a benign effect. Because you have to figure these things in your budget. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So things can bring about a lot of different stress, and there are different triggers. Ways to kind of keep on top of it. If, let's say, for instance, okay, the economy is stressing you, so that means, maybe work on a budget or budgeting plan, things of that nature, try to help manage the stress. Maybe it means seeking counseling, and there's nothing wrong with counseling. It's not a sign of weakness. It's not a sign of um, uh, really not a sign of weakness or anything. It's not a sign of mental illness. It's a sign of strength. And so people need to focus on it that way, and figure out what your triggers are. If it's work, job stress, see how you can, I'm not saying walk away from your job, but there has been a great resignation because people have, done that with the pen, and it's continuing. But you got to be able, as a new phrase was, pivot for 2021, pivot, turn, see if you can go in a different direction, bring in other sources of revenue and streams, and things of that nature. But you really
There
want to
are
see
some
ways in which
I was going to say there's some things. I know you're going down the path of trying to help people navigate through the different stressors. There's some that you can't necessarily, you know how they always say, remove yourself from the situation, or like say it's a
Mm-hmm.
familiar thing, and you
Mhm.
can't necessarily remove yourself from it. But I think it's finding ways of how you think about it in your mind, how you
Right. So
process
you got to
it.
reinforce and reinvent your mindset in terms of the power of positive thinking. Okay. You think positive, then positive things come to you. Just like there's this whole book called The Secret. Well, that was really the gist of it. There's no secret. It's just the power of positive thinking. Believing in a higher faith, a higher calling other than yourself. Realizing that, although we're all supposed to be independent, um, no man is an island, and you cannot do it all alone. You can't just stand out there, and think you can make it without anyone's assistance, be it a friend or a family member, etc. So it helps to find people you trust, a pastor, a counselor, people that you feel that you can trust, a really good friend that is not going to be these run with a bone, carry a bone, bring a bone thing,
Right.
because that's a stressor within itself. There are things that you cannot remove yourself from. Like you say, sometimes you can't be removed from your job. You can't be removed from a marriage unless it is, detrimental, abusive, those sorts of things. And absolutely, by all means, try to do what you can to get out. But you have children. Well, you can't just divorce yourself from your kids. And this day and time, the way the law is, yeah, you actually can.
But
But
it's
for those who
very,
made that commitment, that's family. You can walk away. So you've got to find ways of coping. So we're talking about, let's say, self-care. Okay. Self-care can take many forms. As I said, talking to friends, talking to family, trusted family member, friends, your pastor, a counselor, um, reading, listening to music. Go for a walk, exercise, build up those endorphins. That is a feel good thing. It gets the mind and the body feeling well. If you can do something like a spa treatment, you know what I mean? It's sure you may not be able to do a full body massage, things of that nature, but if you can go just get your nails done, get your feet done with pedicure, nice neck massage or back massage, hey, fine, do those things, because the care you give to others, it's very important that you also pay and give that same self-love and attention to yourself. These are things
That's
that
good.
I think for me,
and of
Shawana,
yeah,
course,
I was gonna
believers, go to the church. Go to
ah,
church. Don't
ah,
forsake the fellowship. Don't
ah,
forsake the fellowship.
yeah, that's good. Would you say, Shawana? I thought you were saying something.
yeah, I was gonna say, I think for me, the way when I get in, stressed, um, for me, the thing that helps me more than anything, outside obviously of prayer and my own faith, but it's
Mm-hmm.
more of getting into a quiet place and literally
Mm-hmm.
trying to find a place, steal away for a minute, and just turn on music. And for me, it's worship music. And that is like the one thing that just totally put me in a whole nother vein where my mind calms down, everything just kind of settles down. Those are those times where you truly get strength, because we all go through stress, but it's finding what is that one thing, that works for you, that works for you.
Yeah.
And for me,
Right,
that's
and
what
it's the thing that you can go, and the thing that you can go to quickly. And for some people, it's just going to be the matter of removing yourself, like you say, go to a quiet room. Okay, if you don't have a quiet place, the kids in the room, your husband's here, this one's happening, that's happening, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever. Go in the closet, shut the closet door, sit on the floor, take the shoes out, sit, you know what I mean? But it's just where you can recenter yourself and find that
Mm-hmm.
middle ground that's calming. It may be, hey, just brew a cup of chamomile tea or something like that that will
Love it.
calm your spirit, something with
Yeah.
lavender, things like that. They have the different oil therapies and things, biometric therapies out here. You can buy the bottles of oil that have lavender, you have peppermint, different things, and it's just maybe something as simple as rubbing it on your temple, on your nose, just kind of aromatic
But they
therapy. That's
also,
all it is.
right. They also have the lavenders, little small can
Those
spray.
diffusers.
All right,
That's right. They've got the diffusers.
just a
Mm-hmm.
little spray and the little can, and also the
Mm-hmm.
peppermint. So when I get ready to lay down at night, I just spray it over my bed, and I tell you, it really does work. I just go right to sleep. So just a little spray of lavender
Mm-hmm.
when I feel like I need to really, really calm down and rest. So, and I
Right.
know
And you've
that
got diffusers.
you should
Mm-hmm.
not watch TV 30 minutes before you go to bed. You need to turn that
yeah.
off and just kind of calm down, because if you just
Compute.
turn the TV
Oh,
off and try
Basically,
to, yeah, you can't.
disconnect.
It doesn't work. Yeah, you got to
Disconnect from all
disconnect.
technology, television, etc. 30
Yep.
minutes to an hour before you go to bed, because that lets your mind shut down and
Yes.
start to
Yeah.
decompress. And
That's
if
so
you're a
good.
type of
yeah.
person who you feel like you're always like a hamster on a wheel and you can't get everything done accomplished, nobody does. And it seems like 24 hours isn't enough hours and time in the day. Write out a little to-do list for the next
Yeah.
day, and then you make it short and manageable enough. Don't give yourself this list of 100 things that's not accomplishable. If you see yourself accomplishing tasks, that calms you down, that calms your stress. 3 to 5
All
things that you must get done, and you do that.
right. Yeah. All
Terry, what
right.
about you?
There you go.
Yeah.
Anything, Terry? Did you have anything? So we can move to that next
Well, I
one.
was going to ask
No, I don't
Terry,
really
how
have
do
anything.
you?
I just get to a quiet place and play music. Um,
Love music. Music.
Mhm.
worship music or jazz. That's it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But I
Yeah.
just get to
Yeah.
a quiet place.
That's really good. All right. Anything else?
Mhm.
All right. I mean, going along with stress, um, tell me about, what do y'all think about, just the mask lifting from the
Okay.
airplane last week? That's exactly what happened. We wanted just a few minutes on that. I haven't
I
flown
have an
yet,
attitude.
but somebody that have flown, y'all need to tell me about it, because I
I
get ready
have,
to
and
do
I have
that.
a straight up, I have a
Go.
straight up attitude about it because the person that I was sitting next to on my way home. So when I flew out there, everybody had to wear their mask when I flew, to Chicago. On my way back, the mask was lifted, so anybody can do whatever they wanted to do. And this man was sitting right next to me, no mask, just over from him, maybe just across the aisle. This lady was hacking up a storm, like
Uh-oh.
41 North, no mask. And I thought, oh God, if I don't get off this plane quick enough. It was just, personally, I was very disturbed, being that stressful right there. And I don't know, the only thing that
Yeah.
would you keep you from being stressed is probably not to be on an airplane at all. But that was a stressful situation, just having to sit on the plane. And I told him, he thought I was crazy. I said, I smelled something. and it's I said it smells like sickness, like somebody's sick on this.
Oh my
And
goodness. So now that's another stress out. That's a mental stress out of that. Oh my
Exactly.
goodness.
I
I
ran
would
when I
What
have,
did
get
you
off
have
that
on
plane.
your
I
mask?
ran.
you had,
I
you
had
Did
on
did,
you
my
did you have
mask.
on your mask?
I next time I did have my mask on, but the next time I'll have several masks on. 'Cause,
double
it
up.
was like
I'm a,
I was
I'll
so
triple up
grossed
when
out.
I fly.
I
Well,
would have a
I
mask. I
plan
would have my
to
glasses.
whenever, yeah,
I was gross.
yes, yes. Well,
Well,
I
I think
plan
that,
to when I fly again to have on my mask for sure. I don't know if it's going to be the KN or bump it up to the N95 this time. You know, I
I'm
suffocate, but I
sorry,
think I'm going to have to
N95.
suffocate as long as I don't pass out. But I think I may go back to the N95, the full blown N95. I'm not going to say I'm going to wear the face shield and all that stuff because I mean, I truly can't breathe with all of that. But, you do what you have to do, and we've done it for so long. Yeah, I don't intend to take it off. Even going to the gas station and the grocery store, anywhere I am, I
Mm-hmm.
basically have my mask on. And when I get out of the gas station, of course, I'm out in the open
Exactly.
air, and people are looking at me like I'm crazy. Look on, because I don't intend to get this. The numbers are
Right.
on the rise. The numbers are on the
And
rise
people
in
are still
almost
getting
every state
COVID.
in the 50, and people are still getting COVID. And it's the new BA2 subvariant, the
Yeah.
what they call it, stealth Omicron. And then they're also got the XE variant. They're trying to learn more about that. And they've got Delta Cron now because it's got the backbone of Delta and the protein spikes from the Omicron. And so again, this thing is about survival of the fittest. The virus is
That's it
trying
for
to
me.
survive, it's mutating, and it's going to be with you. And you've got booster
For
number two
me,
if you're 50 and older to take now. And so people should not, shrink back from that. If you've had the first booster, second booster, you're 50 and older, you qualify. And especially if you have any ongoing health conditions, cancer, chemotherapy, you need to work that out with your oncologist. But it's there. And we've even got a new breath test, almost like a breathalyzer, to determine and detect COVID now. So it's here,
Really?
it's with us. It's going, yes,
yeah,
there's a new breath
Oh
test that
wow.
was approved by the FDA last week or the week before last, within the last 2 weeks.
yeah. They say it's real sensitive, but for me, I, I don't. I'm not. Like you have issues in terms of like just being out in the open or what have you. For me, is those closed spaces. That is
Yes, but
where
it's a
I feel.
respiratory illness. That's
I mean,
that's
I
where
know it's
I
respiratory,
can't get
and I
away
know
from.
it's
It's a
airborne.
respiratory, but I'm gonna wear that
I
thing
get that.
outside.
I get that, but for me personally, I know that it's airborne. I
Yeah.
know it's respiratory illness. I don't take issue being out in public around in different places. Where I take issue more than anything is the closed space, like the airplane, because
Mm-hmm.
that air is just circulated air. Is it's like where is it going? And for hours, that you're on it with those people. So for me, I take issue. But I know, Mom Terry, you guys haven't spoken, so I'll let y'all speak.
Yeah, I
No,
um
I'm
I
good.
agree. I just think that I'm sorry. I just think that people need to take precaution themselves, and although when I go places, I do have my mask on, but if I'm in a comfortable space or with people who I know who's been vaccinated and I'm in that
Mm-hmm.
space, I'm okay with taking my mask off. I'm okay with that. And even at church, I'm okay because I kind of stand, alone over where I, stand. So I don't have to have my mask on. But I think that I agree with Dr. Michelle. Anytime if I go to the store, jump out of my car, getting gas, I don't know who might walk over
Mm-hmm.
to me. I don't know you. I don't know where you're coming from. So I have my mask on. And when I walk in the grocery store, I don't know these people. So
But
I'm walking in with my mask on, aware of things like that. So yeah, I just think that you have to continue to do that. Yes, I am going to get the last booster. I will get that, and so And I'll be comfortable with that. But I declare and decree that I'm not getting another booster. They keep coming up with these boosters every 3 months. I'm not doing that. I'm just not gonna do that. But I did hear, and I did hear that this probably will become like the flu, that you have to take a flu shot every year. You
Annual
have to
shot. Yeah,
COVID,
annual shot. Yeah.
right? And they
For
said that
those
that's
that take the flu shot.
Yeah, because
yeah, for those
everybody
that
else.
take the flu shot,
Everybody
right?
takes flu shot.
Yeah. So
And the flu shot is what is, and I know Dr. Michelle, you're gonna go off on me, and that's okay. But the flu shot is, they can't even
Not going off at
guarantee,
anybody.
they can't even guarantee the proper strain. I mean, it's like it might get 10% or 20% coverage, you know. Yes, they've done
Well,
a better
you know,
job.
you're in pharmacy, but whether it's pharmacy or whatever, and I'm not going off on anybody. The thing of it is, nothing is 100%. The one thing that's
Right.
100% is Jesus, Lord of all. That's the 100% thing that we can
that's the
count on is Jesus Himself.
I'm kept in
That's it.
safety
Okay, the
wherever I go.
Trinity. After, other than that, it's it. But again, being in pharmacy and pharma, that each year the flu vaccine is developed on the basis of the preceding year's strain. And of course, they're not 100%. But the thing of it is, remember now, we were sheltered in place in 2020 and part of 2021, and your flu was very low in terms of prevalence because we were all inside. So they could only use whatever was done from 2019 as your best guess
Oh
and best
yeah.
guesstimate, and to try to cover that for when they offered the flu vaccine for this year, for last year, for 2021, because we were all in place. There was very limited, if any, evidence of flu during that time frame. So you
Right.
can't, you had no data. So we have to. Now this year we've had some strains of flu. They're going to draw from what was there this year. And then the flu season's actually extended, it seems, a little bit longer than usual, January, February. So some people are still being diagnosed with the flu, and others are ongoing COVID cases. So again, for those who take the flu vaccine, fine, you do what you need to do to protect yourself based on your health, talking to your family physician, and then knowing who you may be around and encountering, because you may be perfectly healthy, but there's so many things, as they're proven with COVID, and things you can be a carrier. Just like hepatitis and things, you can be a carrier of different things. And so you have to be mindful of who you may interact and encounter, especially if it comes to family members and close friends and things. So just being mindful.
yeah, that's
Right.
good. All
That's
right,
real
we
good.
that's good information. Thank you, Dr. Webb. That is so awesome.
You're
One of the
welcome.
great things that I did want to talk about is probably I read this and I want y'all to tell me what y'all think about it. It really got me. Um, there's a satanic temple suing the Pennsylvania school board over an after
Mm,
school, um, you know, I was at an after school satanic after school um,
cult.
program.
It's a
So in
cult
other
or
words,
program. Hmm.
yeah, and in other words, a club. They want to have a satanic after school club in an elementary
Hmm.
school, and this satanic
What?
temple is suing
Yeah.
the Pennsylvania school board, after school board, because they want this instituted. Now you already know that they won't stop there, and they're going to keep on going. So if
Of
the
course.
wind there, then this thing will be spreading throughout. And that's why I say, and I'm so passionate about that, we've got, parents stressing with, children in school and, all these behavior problems that's going on, all of these, different things that are going on in the school. And then here we come up with another added something that they're fighting in school with. I don't know where it stops, but I do say this, that if parents don't give their children something to believe, they're going to find something to believe in. And it's very important to do that. For instance, like, at one particular school, a young man, FBI shows up at the school because the young man, um, 12 years old, then, on the dark side of porno, parents were clueless, didn't even know. But they have been tracking this child for 3 months. and they thought it was an adult, but it was a 12-year-old.
It's a
Parents
child.
Kid.
don't know what their children, you gotta be aware, raising your level of awareness. But this one thing is really crazy. Terry can talk about something that happened in school with her grandson just last week. Our children, it's a lot that's going on,
It's a
parents.
lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Carrie, share what you were telling us what was happening to Nate.
So I was on the phone with mom and Auntie Mary, and then I had to click over, but because I saw this particular number, and every time I see it, I said it's either Campbell High School or Nickeljack Elementary School. Well, I clicked over, and it was the principal of the school, of the elementary school, and she wanted to inform me that Nate there was an incident in the cafeteria, and that he had been involved in the incident. And it was a little girl, well, she just said a student had brought some a Rice Krispie treat to school and was sharing it, with the other kids. And Nate just so happened to get a piece of it, but he didn't eat it. He just smelled it. And he told his little friend, don't eat that, it has marijuana in it. And the principal said it had marijuana in it. And Nate said it had weed in it, the same time. And I was
Right.
like, what? And he's in the 5th grade. So the other little boy, Josiah, he didn't eat it, and he slapped it out of another kid's hand. And then another little boy, before Nate could get across the table, he had already ingested it. And they said, Grandma, he could barely walk. He was just discombobulated. He couldn't do anything. I said, oh my God. But he had just eaten it just that quick, and I guess was high just that quick. I said, oh my God, all because of an edible. And so they said they took the precautionary measures. Nate didn't ingest it, which was a good thing. And she just wanted me to speak with him, once he got home. And I did, because he already knew what it was. And he was the only one that knew what it was. Nobody else knew what it was. He smelled it, and he smelled the weed in it. But this is 5th grade in elementary school. Who does that?
I mean, our children are under attack consistently and constantly.
Always.
And there's so much exposure, and things go 10 times faster now because of social media and viral.
Exactly.
And so good, bad, or indifferent TikTok challenges come on where they were slapping people, walking up, punching them on the street, hitting women on the behind, all sorts of craziness. I mean, we all did childhood pranks and things of that nature, but this is getting to the point where, you're talking about this satanic thing. I think that is in Pennsylvania somewhere. And I think that came up about year or two ago. And I guess it is made to court, but they're going to argue that it's their fundamental right. If you have clubs for this or for that, or things that believers can do, then you're discriminating against us. And this is the type of thing that we're faced with. And then with marijuana being legalized in so many places and things,
so
states and what have you, it's going to be a bigger issue with what our children are exposed to. Your parents may do a thing. That child could have innocently picked up those Rice Krispie treats, thinking, "Oh, Mom made me some Rice Krispie treats. I'm gonna take them to school and share." Not realizing what was in that. There was probably 9 times out of 10 no malice or harm on the part of the child, but thinking, "Hey, Mom made me Rice Krispie treats."
Right. Yep.
So,
but for a kid to ingest it and not know, because she didn't know, and then they didn't know.
Exactly. And then and you have all sorts of things, that are going on,
Well, there was a kindergartner passing out margaritas to his friends. He took some alcohol to school in Michigan.
What?
Kindergarten.
I think I heard a snippet of that. It was something about some margaritas, and I'm going, okay.
Yeah.
It was the because I think Stephen Colbert brought that up, and it was Margarita mix. He said, "Well, Lord, I want to go to that school." I think he brought something up about that, and he said, "Wow, but I didn't realize it was kindergarten." But yeah, I heard something about a margarita mix, just a pre-made, already bought mixture, and
just pour it up in the little Dixie cups to the little guests. Oh Lord, the kids during snack time.
I mean, You just got to be on top of everything that they're doing, but you can't monitor them 10, every hour of the day. We just, people have to be parents. You have to teach your child morals,
That's it.
values, what's
There
right,
we
what's
go.
wrong.
There you
That's
go.
what we have to, we
Right.
have to teach. You have to teach. They,
Teach,
they will learn all sorts of things in the streets. We have to be parents and teach.
Right.
You can be
training
your child's
starts
friend,
at
but
home.
you
Yes.
better be that child's parent first
Yes.
and be my friend
Yes.
second.
And
Well,
you gotta keep
parents,
stuff out of their way. You gotta keep
right.
stuff like erase what that should have been put away. The margarita
That
mix.
should have
How
been
you
put
get
somewhere else.
margarita mix? And you in kindergarten. What was that?
Right.
Well, where the kids get the little Dixie cups
Because
for the
my thing is,
Pepsi.
who's packing and looking in that book bag? Who's packing your
Right.
lunch? Who's looking in this
Especially
book
as
bag?
a kindergarten.
You
I
know,
mean, for
Yeah.
real.
but children are finding guns and they're curious, naturally curious. So you put this gun in your book bag and you want to show your friends, and so there's so much that parents just aren't doing. You got to be a parent
And you know what?
first.
That
Well,
little
Yes.
margarita mix probably was colorful, and it's a
It
kindergartner,
was
so they
like
thought, "Oh, look
Kool-Aid
at the little
or
colorful."
exactly
Yep.
well,
Yeah. Yeah.
I just think
Kool-Aid or
that
soda, something.
I
Exactly,
just think
Mountain Dew.
that I don't know what we're going to do. I don't know. Parenting. That's all I can say. Um, there's a lot of parenting needs to be going on. That's all I got to say is that because,
Yeah.
and then awareness. I can't, stress that enough is that parents got to be aware. You
Aware.
just can't assume
Yes,
that, children already
exactly.
know. And it's so sad because so many children are raising themselves, although they have parents in the home, and I call them ghost parents. They are there, but they're not there. You see,
Right.
they are in the home, but they're paying absolutely no attention to the
Mm-hmm.
children. And so
Mm-hmm.
you got a lot of ghost parents in the home. And the reason for that, these things right here have taken over because parents are
Yeah.
not, they're I mean, when you see everybody's just this, everybody's doing this, even in the houses, you're walking home, everybody got their own phone, nobody's paying attention to anyone. Why? Because
Right.
everybody is glued to this. And if parents don't, because they put them in their hands, like, the 12-year-old child, um, been doing porno, I mean, sending it all across the world on the dark side, not just to the little children, but have gotten caught up in that
Hmm.
system.
Yeah.
And the parents,
I
oh
don't
no,
understand
not
how the
my
parents
child.
didn't know that.
Well, right, because parents are not,
Jesus.
they
Well,
don't
it's not the
have
first
And
time. I mean,
attention.
parents, you've seen these older ones commit these mass shootings, and the
yeah,
parents didn't know Jimmy, Timmy, whoever had guns in the house. Ones where the
Right.
parents had ordered different things or they purchased whatever for their birthday, and then they're gun enthusiasts, and they're not. My thing was when we grew up, privacy was to a certain extent. Yeah, but that room was in my mother's house. My mother knew what was happening in that room,
yeah.
and you can have
Yep.
privacy, but it's gonna stop it. There's an extent for
Right.
that.
But
Well,
these
Exactly.
young people have been really slick, and I know we have to at the top, at the end of it all, but
at the
they've
end,
gotten really slick in that they're able to, they have different profiles. So there's a profile that the parent can see, and then there are profiles
Oh,
Exactly.
that is, that's it
yeah.
right there.
Right.
That's it
you
right
know,
there.
Right.
Gotcha.
That's it. That's it. And
Well,
that
you
is
have to
what
set
parents
parental
don't know.
controls on these phones and these
Absolutely.
gaming sites and things. When you purchase that phone, you're gonna have to do that. You're almost gonna have to ghost and duplicate your child's phone to keep up and see what's happening.
It's
You hate to
exactly
get
it.
to that point, but it's what we're gonna have to do.
And they've got
Exactly.
a lot of parental control,
Hmm.
downloads that you can. Parents, have to
Devices
take
and
the time.
apps and things that you can
Right.
use. Exactly.
They have to take
And
the
they're
time to do it.
free.
Right. We
Exactly.
encourage that. Definitely encourage that because we don't want to lose any of our children, not lose them to the streets, not lose them
Mm-hmm.
to, anything if we
Mm-hmm.
can help it. But it's, I just think that just, listening. Now, the other concern is that children on school buses and things like that. And so, just totally out of control and you can just curse bus drivers out and curse out who they want to, and nothing can be done. So we like to
Mm-hmm.
say
Well, it
that
takes a village, and the
it's
village helped
alive.
to raise, and I know from when my family, my mom and aunts and uncles grew up, if you did something and some adults saw it, they wore your butt out, and then they call your parents when you got home. They were waiting for you.
Got
You
another
It
one.
already
wasn't
Yep.
know
it
that. You
wasn't
already
quite
know that's how the
wasn't
windows
quite that
stop.
way when I grew up, but trust me, if an adult saw you do something, they were on the phone calling somebody, and when you
Right.
got
Right.
home, so
Well, you've heard it. This is Let's Talk About It with Alice. And we just, have conversations that just are real. And we hope that you can join in with us. Please share this, with your friends, share this with, those who you know. And then join us again next week. Again, let's talk about it with Alice. As we always say, love
Peace.
and what
And
else? And
increase.
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 Thank you so much for joining in with Let's Talk About It with Alice. Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Take care.